Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. We are here to talk about the Challenge USA episode 11, 12 finale, whatever it is. It's the last episode of the season, and holy crap, we got one of the weirdest, worst, most overly produced slash not produced enough challenge finals ever. We are left discontent, bamboozled, swindled, everything. A lot of anger, a little bit of happiness to some places, but overall, mostly anger.
Yeah, it's funny because last week somebody commented with good reason, why do you guys talk about the show if you hate it so much? It's not that we hate it. We just know what to expect. Like, we started off so strong this season, and this final episode just totally crumbled this entire series.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a feeling of like I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed, but like no, I'm mad too. Like there's like rage that is pouring out of my body right now and I have nothing to channel it into.
A lot of emotions here, a lot of emotions. My name's Allan and Gary, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host. We have the Vermontian Zoe Trimboli
Yeah, that's me. Hey guys.
and the handsome Virginian Luke Muncie.
I'm so ready to stay up and talk about this.
They made us stay up for 2 hours, and yeah, it's like people were like, "Why would you talk about this show if you disliked it?" Look at the first 5 weeks. We were so happy. We were so lively. Like, oh, this is a fresh changeup. And then we got buried week after week, and our optimism was just like so low. And then this week, I think we were kind of like excited, like, okay, final elimination of the season. It's going to be a pole wrestle based on the trailer. The final, these strong females are going to go at it. Tyson versus Danny. It's going to be a great battle. And it was just overly produced and just not. It was just disgusting. I feel disgusted.
And I want to say,
repulsive. No, just it was repulsive.
And I want to say too, like, we are fans of the MTV challenge. This is a spinoff. This is new for us. So if you're a new listener, we're super thankful for you. But like, please know our jam is the MTV version, and it's coming back soon. So like, it's better than what we just witnessed tonight. But yeah, high hopes that were quickly diminished.
Yeah, like I'm a long-term relationship girl. Like I'm a monogamous. When I commit to something, I stick with it for better or worse. And this is worse. So
But we still watch the whole thing.
And my favorite thing is like on Twitter, I was tweeting like my discontent with the final. People were like, "Oh, is this your first challenge final?" No, this isn't my first challenge final. I hate challenge finals every season, and it just shows you how much like how bad this one was. And we're gonna okay. If you didn't watch the episode, you don't want to know who the winners are. Tune out. Just like leave the channel right now because we're gonna talk about it. And like let me say it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations to our winners of the Challenge USA. Danny McRae and Sarah Lacina. And I got to give them props because they both actually performed really well in the final. Everything else, though, a fucking mess.
And I want to interject too. There are going to be people that comment that say, haha, y'all shit talked her all season long. We knew who won back in like May. We keep up with spoilers. We knew that we were kind of contradicting what was going to happen by talking all that crap about Sarah, but she had not a great showing until this last episode, which is great. And I will give her credit for that.
No, she did so well in this final. And Danny did really well as well. So huge congratulations to Danny. Like outright deserved that win through and through. But man, my head is spinning right now. Spinning.
Yeah.
So let's go into let's just jump right into. We're gonna fast forward through a lot of stuff in this episode. Last daily challenge of the season. Players have to swim, then they have to carry tires. The tires are different points. You have to do puzzles. Some of them don't have puzzles; they're worth less points. So on and so forth. There's only 2 tires worth 20 points. Angela gets one of them that's worth 20 points, along with Tyson, and it's a slider puzzle, which she sucks at slider puzzles. I get it. I'm a smart guy. I'm pretty good at puzzles. I suck at slider puzzles. I'm terrible at them. I don't know what it is. She spends so much time on the slider puzzle, she comes in last place. Meanwhile, Sarah comes in first place. Good for her. She killed this challenge. I mean, she did really well. It felt like Bizarro World because Sarah came in first and Angela came in last.
Yeah, she won when she needed to. And I think her main flaw is something that was her strength this entire season. She listened to Tyson. She even said early on, like, I can't do this. I need to move on. And Tyson said, oh, you can do this. It'll get you all these points. And she should have just listened to her gut.
The crazy thing is she was really close at the 30-minute mark, and then it still took her another hour, which at some point you have to admit defeat. And I think the only thing that stopped her was that she knew if she walked away, she had gotten whoever was next so close that someone else was just going to pick up her 20 points and she didn't know where she would make it up regardless.
For sure.
Sliders can be frustrating. So
I've solved one slider puzzle in my whole life, and it was at a children's museum. So no joke.
On the men's side, we have a tie between Tyson and Dom. Tyson with the quote, like, I'm sure tying with me is some great honor for Dom. It's not for me. But instead of having like whoever put their final tire in last as the first place finisher, they decide they're both going to win. They split the money, and the three of them, along with Sarah, will be voting for the last person to elimination, which kind of changed the odds of this season itself, because now Dom and Sarah team up to vote in Alyssa into the final elimination rather than Kayla, meaning Angela and Alyssa, besties, have to face each other in the final pole wrestle.
And for those of you who this is your first season, never in the history of the challenge had they said, oh, the men both tie as winners. They've always brought it down to time. Like it should have been who got the most points the fastest. It has always been like this. This was clearly a play to get Alyssa in there. For what reason? I have no clue. I don't get it. But yes, it's Alyssa and Angela pole wrestle. Angela doesn't even give them the time of day to talk through reasons because she knows what's going to happen realistically. I don't know.
Angela dominates the pole wrestle. Really sad for Alyssa too, because Alyssa had a really solid season. I thought it was crazy when Sarah said that like Alyssa had been like a bomb cutter. Angela had always been at least average to above average in every single daily. She was just, whether it was swimming, running, puzzles, she'd always been near to the, like, close to the top. She's been someone who's just been behind Angela. I think Alyssa's been pretty good, so sad to see her go out this way. Meanwhile, this means our final is Kayla, Desi, Justine, Sarah.
Kayla, Desi, Justine, Sarah, Angela, and Kayla.
Tyson, yeah. And then Tyson, Dom, Enzo, Danny, and Ben. Ben, during the daily challenge, he bumps into something in the dark, falls down, hurts his shoulder. That's devastating because they get to the final. Ben is medically DQ'd because of his shoulder. And Ben has been the second best guy overall this season. Clear number 2 behind Tyson. So the fact that he got hurt in a game, he got hurt in a challenge where he wasn't even up for elimination, just giving his all, that's heartbreaking. And it screws up the final because apparently everything is going to be partner-based, and now we're doing 5-4, meaning the women are going to have to compete on their own in certain legs, which is just completely unfair to them.
Also going to throw this out there, nothing in that final would have hurt his shoulder. It would be, I guess, if he fell down the mountain, but, like, there was no reason with a bum shoulder he couldn't have done that final. No.
And also have a mini purge for the win. Like, just have a simple so frustrating. And he went to the doctor the day before. They had time to figure this out. It just really was super frustrating. Yeah.
Also, like, David didn't leave that long ago. Bring David back. This whole we're going to have uneven numbers thing is such bullshit.
It was completely unfair to the women, and it screwed up the entire final from the jump. That was the first problem. A chain reaction that just effed up the game. Then TJ tells them that if anyone quits in the final, both players are out. They start off with this swim. Enzo quits like 5 minutes in, and Enzo's partnered with Desi. So Desi, who's been killing it this entire game, has all the skills needed to win a final. Her game is over because of Enzo. And Enzo shows basically no remorse. And on top of that, it's ridiculous that a man just ended her game like that and just, I mean, he's a bozo. He's a loser. Fucking talking about gabagoo, get gabagone. Fucking get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. It was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. He quit so immediately.
I never want to see that man on my television again. Like, seriously, do not ever put him on my fucking television again. I will turn into an internet troll and ruin this man's life. Like, it was so despicable. You're wearing a fucking life jacket. You're not going to drown, you fucking dumbass old ass idiot. Like, I literally can't. Like, if I was Desi, I would have ripped his life jacket off of him and thrown him into the water. Like.
And here's what I do not understand. If we've already formatted it so one female can run them independently, why couldn't Desi run them independently after that? Or the two females, Zoe said we were texting earlier, work together. Like, the algorithm would just do that. Because, spoiler, the final goes to individual anyways. So, like, You don't need a male and female partner in the end.
That whole final could have been individual. It didn't even need to be partnered. And so, like, of all the people for this to happen to, for it to happen to Desi, it just, like, it broke my heart to see her so devastated there. And to have her game ripped away from her by the weakest competitor left. Like, it was so gross.
It screws up the scoring system of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as well. It's just there's so much it impeded. It was ridiculous. And like I love Desi. We all know this, but it just hurts to see someone who gave it their all into this game and just like it get ruined in one moment. And he said like, oh, I don't really care that much. I don't, it's like, dude, you're just a fucking loser.
Welcome to the challenge where production does not give a fuck about their female talent.
It's true. And for those who are new from CBS, like, love the MTV version. Like, they can never just keep a final just simple. Like, I think of last season's Spies, Lies, Allies, which somehow seems better now. Allan said that beforehand. Like, they were in teams, and we could have had team winners, and they decided not to have that. And then they screwed over the best performing female in the end to give a win to another female. It was just so convoluted, and it still is convoluted.
Why can't we just have a continuous final also? Like, why does it always have to be checkpoints and points? Like,
I think of Rivals 1, which they did have like the overnight portion, but most of that final was continuous, like you're saying. And it's one of the best finals to me ever because you had Paula and Evelyn and Laurel and Carmaria, two of the strongest female pairs the show's ever seen. And they were 8 hours into a final, neck and neck, literally walking up a mountain going into the eating portion. Like an 8-hour marathon where two people are literally standing next to each other. You don't see that ever. And like, those are the good finals we want to see. We want to see like that vision. But yeah, they want to overly produce stuff.
And I want to add just real quick too, All-Stars 3 had a really good checkpoint final, I feel. But the difference is none of the All-Stars are going to quit. Like, it is a different crop of people.
Yeah, I fully agree. It was creative. It was different. I mean, honestly, the All-Stars finals as a whole, besides the second one, have been pretty good. Just keep it simple. That's all we ask for. That first portion of the final, Kayla and Danny actually win it because Kayla comes in really clutch in the puzzle. They work together. Kayla is a good swimmer. Very surprising first place finish. Sarah comes in second overall, which good for her. Tyson and Justine come in third, even though they crushed the swim. They struggled a bit with the puzzle. And then Angela and Dom time out. They come in fourth. They get 2 points.
Which sets the precedent that in this final, you can time out, which is important.
Well, there it is.
Remember, you can time out and you still get points. Next up, Danny and Angela win the next portion, which involves them running, eating an onion and garlic, and then doing some math.
And so it's wild. I have people in my family that don't like raw onions. That part's not wild. But, like, I did know that if you cover raw onion in lemon juice, it, like, takes out that, like, bite, like, the stuff that makes you cry. And so Angela was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So, like...
And Dom was trying to make fun of her for being her own little ratatouille, but, like, Tyson saying that Dom just smells like onions anyway was, like, that made me laugh way too hard. Tyson and Sarah came in second. Justine and Dom came in third. Kayla had to do this fourth by herself, and that girl just does not like onions.
I was watching her struggle thinking she was going to quit, and I was like, I watched the Dirty 30 Redemption House eating challenge. They were eating giant naked mole rats and just the most insane shit I've ever seen. And so I was like, girl, it's an onion.
It's an onion. I could have eaten 4 onions. I love raw onions.
I've actually seen Luke take a bite out of a raw onion just for fun. So I can validate that.
Delicious.
No, my best friend who lived with me, there was times I would just watch him in the kitchen and he would just make chopped onions with cheese by itself and just eat that whole, and he loved it so much.
That might be a stretch for me, but
he did it up real good with like some pepper, and it looked good, actually. I'm not gonna lie. Then you have the next portion. What What was the next portion? I have the placings.
I blacked out. Hold on.
Was it? Who knows? You're asking the wrong person.
It was the. No. God.
This is
Who
great
won? Tell me who won. Tell me who won, and we'll.
Third portion was very physical, a lot of endurance, a lot of physicality, a lot of memorization, and they had to put words together. Yeah. Tyson and Angela come in first. Danny and Sarah come in second. Dom and Kayla come in third. And Justine has a huge undertaking that she has to do by herself, to which she times out and comes in fourth. She doesn't actually even complete it fully. They still give her the points, though.
And she's not made to go home?
Nope.
Okay. Again, we have a precedent.
She just went on a jog and never had to do any of the other parts, and she got to stay.
And get points.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I saw someone else mention that Kayla timed out. I don't know if she did time out. I don't think she did, but I saw someone mention that. And then we get to the overnight portion. One player is allowed to sleep while the other player has to use a wheelbarrow to fill mud out of a trench to another location. The partnerships are Dom and Sarah, Tyson and Kayla, Danny and Justine, and Angela has to do it by herself.
So I'm so sorry. This is the moment that there was no hope for this challenge. Like CBS, what in the world? And honestly, it's not even all CBS's fault. A lot of it they're similar challenge producers. What? Go ahead, Allan. I'm sorry.
All right. So in order to make it even, they like give Angela less dirt than everyone else. But this is an undertaking she has to do by herself. And I mean, when you compare it to all the other portions, this is going to be a minimum of 4 to 5 hours. Versus everyone else, where like Sarah's opening portion, that swim was like maybe a 1 hour event at most.
And people with partners get the chance to sleep.
Yes. So seeing that there's the chance of one partner to rest or to work, Angela's like, well, I'll be the rest partner. And I'm going to do it strategically. We're going to come in fourth place, take the 2 points, and we're going to come in tomorrow, do the best we can. And here's the thing. Here's the problem. It's not the fact that Angela didn't try, because like she should have probably tried a little bit harder, but it's the fact that CBS never told her that if she did not try 100%, that she would be DQ'd from the final.
Producers are everywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to say there's so many PAs there. Somebody steps in and says, yo, Angela, if you don't at least attempt to finish this, you're done. You're out.
And she would have got her ass up and she would have done it. Like, this was just such a clear attempt to even like the numbers. But it didn't need to be evened.
Yeah, right before they go individual. Like, it made no sense. Again, like, she was the best performer all season, period, regardless of gender. And they did her so fucking dirty.
And I saw some people say this was sloppy gameplay. This was pure strategy. Like, I don't know why anyone needs this explained to them. But yeah, she's going to be the rest partner because she doesn't have another partner. What?
It's ridiculous, too, because it's just... Angela is someone who would have done it if a PA told her, you will be DQ'd if you don't complete it. And she would have been up till like 8 a.m. the next morning if she had to. But it's the fact they didn't tell her, and you're making up the rules on the fly just because I don't know what you're trying to do.
Well, she at least, like, if she was, like, I think she had a point. Her back would have been done. She would have been exhausted. If she knew all she had to do was stay up and compete until the third place person finished, she could have been walking back and forth with handfuls of dirt. Like, that's literally what I would have done if someone said that to me. Like, fuck the wheelbarrow. I'm just going to grab a handful and walk.
And all the people that were like, she tried to take the easy way out. You cannot tell me if another one of those girls were not in the same situation, they wouldn't have had the same thought.
Kayla, you having to eat one plate with an onion on it by yourself does not compare to Angela having to do this by herself. Sarah, you were at an advantage getting to do this by yourself because you didn't have Enzo. Justine, you had to do that by yourself, but guess what? Like, you didn't finish either. So it's not comparable. It's not the same ask. The whole final should have been individual if they were going to do it like this. It's so fucked up.
Even the worst case scenario to me is like if they would have just been like, hey, Angela, you don't get 2 points because Justine and other people who timed out, they got 2 points. You get 0 points for this round. You don't get the 2, but you're still going in the final at least. Maybe do that. Maybe that seems like a compromise that I can at least agree with.
even if they were like, we're penalizing you, we're taking away 3 points, like I'd be like, okay, I would disagree, but it seems fair. This is just stupid. And to hype her up all season long as the woman, like even when she went to the final elimination, like you've dominated all season and now you're here. It's poetic. You won the last elimination. Like, do we not care about consistency of storyline?
I know how this show works. So for no one to step in and say anything to her it's bullshit. And if it had been Johnny Bananas making that choice, they would have
been praised,
or he would have been told immediately, Johnny, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But he could take Adderall to stay up all night in a final and then win and steal people's money. So,
Angela, you DQ her. Johnny Bananas, you sell Johnny Bananas branded pillows. Oh, look at him sleeping through the night. Look at that strategic king. That's the way that's the way this fucking game goes. The show goes, and it's frustrating. And like, I came to the season hating Angela, but man, she really just wowed me across the board. So to watch her go down this way because of fucking production, to watch Desi go down that way, and just fucking Enzo. Fuck Enzo Palumbo. Fuck that dude, bro.
Dude, and I know in my heart, those two women would not have quit in the next portion. I know we can't say because they weren't there, but I feel certain that in my heart, those two women would not have quit.
I would agree. And like, I will say, I feel like Angela was very gracious in her exit interview. She said, I feel like I was being punished for making a good strategic decision. I'm glad that she said that. I'm glad they aired it. But I do want a lot of these people to get redemption. And by a lot of these people, I mean Desi and Angela. So 2 of them, I just hope we get it. I hope they get it.
They deserve it. They do.
All right, we get into it. The next day, it's an individual portion. I have to say, like before this though, Sarah Lucina was in first place after day 1, so good for her. She was actually like crushing it, first and second across the board in most challenges. Tyson and Danny were neck and neck, just 1 point apart from each other. Dom, not even in the picture really. Not even if he had won the final portion, he would not have won the final mathematically, I think.
I will say I did give him credit during the final when he was like the second person after Tyson to reach one at like the first checkpoint or something. I was floored by that. And so I'll walk back a little bit of me saying like, fuck him, you don't want to run a final with him, because he did beat Danny to that first checkpoint.
Yeah, like in all honesty, Dom actually did pretty well in this whole episode, but like I don't even give a shit because it's just like I'm so mad over the women, and fuck Enzo Palumbo. Fuck that dude. But yeah, we get over to the final portion. It's individual. Players have to run, I think someone told me it was 6 miles in total, up a mountain in the cold. They do a puzzle, and then after that checkpoint, they go and do a Sudoku. Tyson, Dom, Justine are really out at the front at the beginning. They get to the Sudoku, and that's where things fall apart because they're freezing cold and they have all these little numbers in their hands. And I gotta say, when you're cold and you gotta precisely put stuff on the board, get a little bit frustrating. I get it, but it's just Sudoku, and I don't know.
Here's another issue with these like checkpoint point finals. Like I do not think you should quit, because even if they were to get last place, they still keep their money in their account. Like that's what I could not understand. Like, sure, they could have said, okay, no matter how the points fall, I could get first place in this, I still won't win this final. That might have been a mindset that I can maybe give some room to understand. But you're gonna lose all your money if you don't. And the difference between CBS and MTV people will literally know they're losing and still finish the final. And listen to me, y'all. I absolutely hate to even have to say this. On All Stars 1, Big Easy and Anissa were not going to win. They were not going to win. They still finished that final because it's a claim. I finished one of the finals. This is a big deal.
You're not going to find a bigger hater of Big Easy and Anissa than me. Truly.
It's true.
Like, you won't find one. I believe they would have finished this final.
Absolutely.
I agree wholeheartedly.
It's these CBS people are so fucking soft. Like I can't fathom this.
They also see one person quit, like, well, I can quit if this person quits as well. I think that's kind of like the sheepish mindset. I mean, they all vote for someone in Big Brother if someone's voting that way. I mean, that's the way they go. It was endlessly frustrating. Danny gets up the mountain, and Danny's like, I know a few things in this world. I know Kiki, I know football, I know Sudoku, and I know Kiki again. But the man crushes Sudoku. He said, like, I've been practicing on the hard difficulty nonstop for 20 something days before Survivor. I came in here, and he kills it. And he was already ahead of Tyson before that. It leads to him winning the final. And he's a good guy. He practiced well. My favorite thing was was it Dom who said, was Danny sandbagging this whole season? And I don't think Danny was sandbagging. I think he was just coming in third and fourth place most of the time, but he just killed his final.
Yeah, and he really started to show out the last few episodes as well. So I can't even hate on him. Like, and honestly, he was looking really great in the final from the jump. So I'm content with it. His personality's not like super fun, but that's not what it's all about, I guess. That's why I watch these shows, though.
I was happy for him. It's hard because I think I said this to you guys before we started. The way the whole episode shook out, like, I think his beautiful win is clouded by just the complete fuckery of everything else that went on. But, like, he absolutely deserved to win this final. He deserves his flowers. He killed it. He did great. Also, shout out to Zoe. Just found out that that's his daughter's name and they spell it correctly. So shout out Kiki, shout out Zoe. But great for Danny. I don't know how he'll fare among other champs, but I mean, we saw he could do great in the final. So,
And I do think, in like against our main show, man, Danny actually translates even better than he does on this show, because I think this show is a lot more mental, whereas our main show is more physical. So it actually plays more to his strengths. He's one of the few people who would actually do better on the main show in terms of athleticism. And like, you know, Luke, I love drama just like you, and because of that, Danny can be like a little bit grating because he's just a very nice guy through and through. He doesn't stir the pot in any way.
But because of that, I'm happy with his win, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
he's a purely likable guy. I don't, yeah.
And then
I don't know. Let's talk about
we talk
the
about
men quitting.
Sure.
Tyson also just sees that Danny's beaten him. He's like, all right, I lost the final. Let's just quit.
But he also lost 20 some odd $1,000.
That's the crazy part. He just left $20,000 on the table.
Must be nice.
And I know he won Survivor and like won the million, but after taxes, and that can't last your whole life. Like, get something to show for.
The money part doesn't even faze me. It's the like competitive part, which I think is just, it's disgusting. And again, we're the biggest Tyson fans around all season long, but it put such a sour taste in my mouth. And then like Dom just piggybacked and was like, well, Tyson's quitting, I'm quitting. And Justine, girl, the feminism left your body. You did not need to quit. You had more in the tank.
See, and I was told that Justine and Tyson were the only other two to finish. So you can imagine my surprise when they both quit. I was like, wait, what? And then it totally invalidates everything Tyson said on Twitter about like being a better competitor than everybody on the challenge ever, because, you know, we've had some pretty weak people even finish a final.
I don't want to be Team Johnny Bananas ever in any way, but him and Tyson were going at it on Twitter, and Johnny Bananas finished the X's 2 final, and he won. Or X's 1.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, but like that was a really fucking hard final. Like,
he's finished a lot of hard finals, free agents, Rivals 1, like even Total Madness. 2 days going in the ice.
Yeah, it's comparable for sure.
It's the fact that he wouldn't have given up, and that's the thing. You can't shirk the top guys, like, you know, the Wesses and the CTs, and be like, and then just quit like that, because like it's weak, especially going against, like, you know, I've talked about, like, this male cast on the season is not great. So when you can't even finish the final, it's really having you look weak, and it's making all your previous accomplishments look even worse. And it was a bummer. I'm disappointed in him, and I'm disappointed in Justine. Dom, that's what I expected of you, but like you did better the whole episode.
It's a baffling thing for me, for a guy who's played Survivor 4 times, that he quit when he was that close. Like, I know that he's like a thin dude, and like the cold weather probably is not as friendly to him as it is to other people, but like What?
Plus,
The fan. Oh, go ahead.
I just say plus he plays pickleball. He's prepared for this.
The fan in me and the fan in all of us that would cut off a limb to get a chance to run one of these finals or like be on the show just to watch them drop like flies that close. I was just so livid. I was disgusted.
This is like, honestly, I know this is not the intention of this show, but it does make me appreciate the MTV version more, because if you can imagine any of the competitors having to drop from final, they would be crushed. They'd be in their confessional sobbing. Like they would like be on Twitter like, I'm so sorry to my supporters, I disappointed you. It's just like a lack of care. I don't know. I feel really weird about it.
I think of like the people from MTV that have quit finals in the past, and it's like they are the lowest of the low.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen people against all odds complete finals, like Devin completing the free agents final when she was like out of shape, no position to be there. What is going on?
Even Devin and Cheyenne on Rivals 3 are shitting on the mountain and still getting up there.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm doing the math right now. If Justine had finished, he should have had 21 points, but if Sarah had come in third, she would have had 23. So if they had both completed it, Sarah would have won still, but it's still disappointing that she quit because there was money on the table. And the same goes for, Kayla gets up there. She's like, okay, everyone's quit. I'm good at Sudoku. And then she's like, I quit too because everyone else quit.
Kayla, I know you're not listening, but if you are, God, loved you from the jump. Steady decline.
I'm over it. Like, again, we were rooting for Kayla.
And I already know people are going to comment, so you guys are such haters. I am a hater right now. I'm so sorry. What was today? Like, what was this final?
We just want to see people not quit the final. That's all we want. Like, don't think we're hating. We just don't want them to quit the final. Sarah gets up there eventually 8 hours later, does the Sudoku, gets up the mountain 10 hours later. I actually did see some tweets, people being like, what if she didn't finish and they just told her that they needed a female winner because everyone else quit? I'm not going to subscribe to that theory because I think Sarah did pretty well the entire final. And I do think after a certain amount of time, she would finish the Sudoku in a puzzle. So she gets up the mountain and she wins the season. Yeah.
And here's what I will say. I do not believe under any circumstances Sarah would have quit. No. And people can say that she won by default, but like she did very well in the other legs of the final as well.
Well, and honestly, even if she finishes that portion last because of where she was, mathematically, she's still in a good position to win.
Yep. It's just, she did well. We're not going to deny that any fact. It's just the fact that the way they formatted this final from the jump with the Ben stuff, with the way Enzo just plummeted Desi's game immediately. It adds so much noise to a final where like it doesn't even feel like a great win because it wasn't from a person who had a great season, and it's just good for her. Good for her. She wins $254,000, more than Danny actually. We just want a clean win, and I think that's all challenge fans ever want. That's why All Stars 3 felt good for Wes and Johnny because they won cleanly.
Yeah, rooting strictly for Kayla, but I cannot deny Johnny's win.
Exactly. I was pulling for Kayla too, and Johnny deserved the win. Like, we can admit when our faves are outperformed in a final. I wish that Angela and Desi had the chance to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And if it had ended the exact same way, I'd be saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, congrats to Sarah. You did it. Whatever. Like,
I also want to just say there's a huge lack of consistency with this whole global tournament thing that's been, broadcasted since I believe February this year, where, the winners of this season, as TJ tells us 3 times every episode, are going to go to this global championship with people from all around the world in the MTV version. This is not like a spoiler because like news sites are posting this. They're still filming a lot of the international versions. They should have done this throughout the summer. They should have done this like before the end of this, because to your American audience, you want to promote this. Like, hey, we've got these people. Here's clips from their shows. And on this date, we're going to premiere the global championship. Even if they've not filmed that yet, they can plan ahead. It just was like, we had this whole season that the main purpose was, okay, we'll have winners that go on to this other thing, and then no promo.
Yeah, and the way this was originally pitched was that they would air concurrently, the Latin version, the Australian version, the British version, and they would be on all their own networks. And then around this time period, we'd be getting that global show, and it's just not happening, and interest could just plummet.
Yeah, they haven't even filmed it yet. They're not going to film until what, October? That's the rumor.
Mm-hmm. And if they film in October, there's no way they can put it out on Paramount Plus by the end of the year, like they said. And not to mention, in case you do keep up with the MTV version, the next season's premiering soon. We know this. The past 3 days, they've revealed the theme of the season, Ride or Dies. I feel like tomorrow we'll get some sort of either cast picture, promo, small clip. It'll be something
trailer
stupid
of some kind.
Yeah, I'm very stressed out about that, because I just don't have the time I used to, and I'm just like I'm afraid of that day where I'm going to be scurrying.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I don't, but I feel for you.
Challenge 38, Ride or Dies, coming soon.
Woo-hoo!
Make sure to ride or die with us. And I just want to say as a whole, thank you to everyone who subscribed and listened during this season. We had a lot of new people at the beginning, and then that died off because people's interest in the show died off, and also we got really negative. But we're grateful for anyone that really stayed with us, because we stay up late and talk because you guys are here to listen, and it means a lot to us.
And I have a promise. If you stay with us and listen to the MTV podcast, I will start off really positive there too, because I do it every season, and then something happens. But we'll see. Maybe it could change.
Just don't drag us on for 6 episodes too long, MTV, please. Thank you guys for being my Ride or Dies.
Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the like on this video if you haven't already, even though you're 37 minutes in. iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it's called. At Zoe Trimbo on Twitter. At Final Reckoning, the I's are L's for Luke. Me, at the Onigiri, at CF Confessionals on Twitter. I think I already said that already, but good stuff's getting posted there. I post videos of the challenges stuff, and it'll be funny. It's gonna be good. Have a great day, everyone. Congrats to Danny McCrae. Congrats to Kiki. Congrats to Zoe McCrae. Have a great day, everyone.
And congrats to Sarah.
Sure.
Yay! Woo!